Bye, my sweet.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another of our Between the Line Book Talk chat. And today we have Margaret Mackay Hefferman with us, but we're gonna make her sit and listen while Michelle and I chat, because we never get to talk to each other. We're too busy, and this is the only time we get to chat. So, but you know, she has a release coming up, don't you, Michelle?
I do, on the 27th through Crushing Hearts Black Butterfly Publishing. So I'm excited about that. So I'm a little bit crazy right now.
Yes, I can understand. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And look what I got. Remember, I was talking about caramel.
How cool!
Caramel chai tea.
Oh,
so
yum!
You guys got to
want some. I want some.
Yes, it's so good. So good. So yeah.
All right.
I got my horse.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
got your horse mug.
Yes. It's horse day today. Spring is coming.
And congratulations to you. You got a 5-star review. I saw that last week. And so congratulations.
I know.
Rhonda Caudell.
Yes. Oh, did I see that? I didn't see that.
I tagged you.
Oh, did you? Oh my gosh. See how we are. I didn't. Well, a 5-star review from a publisher. That's going to be interesting. I can't wait to read it.
Hot dog.
Yeah, we had her on.
All right.
Yeah, we had her on our show.
Yes.
So, well, okay. Well, let's not keep Margaret waiting. Yes. And I read her book and been wanting to talk to her about it. And so everybody, let's welcome Margaret Mackay Hefferman. And
hello, Margaret.
Wrote Stone Cottage. And I met her at FantasyCon, Virtual FantasyCon last year. And that's where I snuck in on one of her teasers, and I just thought, man, this really sounds like something that I need to read. And you know, Michelle, she wrote a little bit like what you wrote in your book that is going to be released, and a little bit about same as my kind of like cobwebs. You know, we go into this past life, this regression stuff.
The past lives and the regression.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we're going to
look forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. So, well, Margaret, how about if you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay. I am an author and an artist from Canada. I've lived all my life in Canada. I have always written. I love to write. My mother was a poet and an artist as well, so I come by it naturally. And as I got older, I wanted to leave a legacy for my grandchildren, because I realized that future generations won't know me and won't know how I feel, won't know anything much about me. So I thought, I'm going to write a book. And so I wrote, my first book was a bunch of short stories. It's an anthology of 8 short stories and a poem, written for very small children. It's called Bedtime Treasures, and you're to read it to the kids at night. And so from there, I then went on. I got writing short stories. I didn't think, I thought, oh yeah, okay, I can write those. Those are a few thousand words, but a whole big novel, I mean, that was a bit much. So I then wrote, I did a course in Celtic shamanism a few years ago. And I thought, oh, this would make an interesting story I've written it for middle grade readers. It's a first reader.
Okay.
And so, and it's about the very first how can I put it? The very first meditation that we did going into another realm. And so I wrote The Mysterious Door. And it's two best friends, and they find a door in an oak tree, and they go through and they find another country, and they receive their animal guides. Nice. And so that got me interested in writing another one. So the next one I wrote was called The Crystal Grove. And it's an extension, it's a sequel to The Mysterious Door. And Emma is having some problems with kids at school with bullying. And I wanted to get across who we really are, that we're really spiritual beings. As Dr. Dyer said, we're spiritual beings having a human experience rather than the other way around. So in this book, they travel through and they meet a bunch of animals, and things try to stop them, and they have adventures. And eventually they meet Kuan Yin, and she shows them who they really are. So I got some success from those 3 books. And then I thought, I read a book by Robert Schwartz. It's called Your Life's Plan. And it's a very interesting book. And in it, he takes people that have had experiences in their life, and he takes them to a medium, a past life regressionist, and they explore what those particular circumstances meant to those people. And he found that a lot of people had planned events before they came. It's pre-birth planning.
Wow.
And so I thought, what would that look like? How would your life look if you planned the events before you were born? How could that play out? And thus Stone Cottage was born. And that's where we are.
Love it. Definitely. I'm going to check that out. I like that a lot. How long did it take you to write the book?
Well, originally, Michelle, it's 3 years from the concept to the finish. Okay. Once I got started and really got started, it took me a year to do the research and to finally write it and go through the editing process. And it was about 1.5 years to finally finding a publisher that would publish it.
Great, very nice. That is very close to Kendall, I can't talk. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that is very cool.
Well, even Michelle, the one that releasing right now, I mean, you do the same thing, with your characters. So we're all kind of like in that.
A little bit there.
Yeah.
In that realm, right? What type of research did you do? You mentioned that you research. If someone was interested in learning more about that field.
Well, the research that I did, because I have written, there are 2 time periods in the book.
Okay.
And there is a ghost in the book that is earthbound.
Okay.
And so she is 1850s to 1870s. And I have written it for the area that I live in Canada.
Okay.
So I went to the local library, which have archives of the time period. So I read newspaper clippings, I read wedding notices, and all different kinds of things on what it would be like in the 1850s, how things would play out. I also investigated when, for example, the train came through from here to Toronto, that kind of thing, and what was going on then. Then for some of the other things, I consulted a past life regressionist and went through a past life regression myself to get that accurate. I also consulted with a medium who does ghost clearing or that kind of thing. And so I consulted with him as to what would happen. How would he see the ghost, or would he see the ghost, or does he see the animals? Because there is an animal ghost in this as well. and would he see that? And so I've done a lot of consultation. I have a lot of friends. I have a large community of people who are involved in various aspects of the afterlife and guidance and that kind of thing, helping people heal. And so the same with the clearing. When we clear some of the energy, I wrote that through my experience with people about how to clear an area. So that, yeah, there was a lot of research that went into the book.
How fun. Wow.
I can really hear her accent about, I mean.
I know, I was listening to that.
Yeah, and because I'm from northern Wisconsin, and, everything is like, no, we draw that way out, but I can hear now, that's a mix of Canadian, and is that Scottish in there too a little bit, Margaret?
Oh. Yes, there's a bit of that, I guess. I get that from my father.
Okay, 'cause I can
I heard it. Yes.
I've never been to Scotland, but I have a heart's longing to go there. But my dad was from Scotland, and he influenced my life a great deal. He was my absolute hero. So I've picked up some of his accent and can get into it fairly quickly.
Very nice. The fact that the book is connected to, some of your experiences, and you mentioned going through the past life regression. I mean, was it a surprise for you? Did you learn something that, you didn't realize about yourself? Or, is there something you could share? I mean, how was that experience?
It was a very good experience, Michelle. I have actually had a few of them. So it wasn't my first kick at the cat. I just wanted to.
I love that.
I just wanted to make sure that I got the phraseology and what would be questioned and things like that. But yes, the first time I did, it's because I have brought some challenges into this life and wanted to know, why I had them. Some of them are physical disabilities that I have. And I thought, why me? Why nobody else in my family has this? Why is it me? And so when I did the past life regression, what she told me rang very true. And regardless of whether or not it's true, it helps me accept myself better. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes.
But any of this stuff, regardless of if it's true or not, it just helps me make more sense of the world. Like with a great big huge universe out there, I can't believe that we only inhabit this planet, and that's all there is.
Right.
Well, yourself. You're a writer. You're a creator. So is Denise.
Mm-hmm.
You don't stop with one book. Well, that's it. I'm done.
Totally not, no.
You right. Go on and you do other writings and you do more and you create various ways. You create in the garden. You create, I paint as well. And so I'm sure that the intelligence, that the creator that created this universe has got whole bunches of things for us to do. We think about eternity and you think, okay, eternity. As humans, we can't grasp that. Right. We really can't. We're really, in our human mind, finite beings. Eternity doesn't really ring a bell. But if you're happy thinking that you're going to go to heaven and sit there and that's it, more power to you. But, I just don't think we're going to do that. I think we've got a whole lot of things. And coming back, maybe we want to try something new. You are a Black woman this life. I am a white woman. Maybe next time we'll be siblings and we'll be Indian. Who knows? You never know. Because we want to try different things. We want to experience. None of it's right or wrong. It's just an experience.
True.
Have you ever done past life regression?
I haven't. No. So I was going to ask you, in the story, your main character.
Yes.
What is her name?
Her name is Rebecca.
Rebecca, and she does go through the past life regression. Is that
yes,
okay.
She does.
So what is the process? I mean, I don't know if it's long or, if it's something that could be, just somewhat explained here. What did Rebecca go through, or what would, like if I was to go through, what would we expect?
Well, I have found, I've gone back a few times, and usually the regressionist will take you back. You get in a very, very meditative state, the alpha wave kind of thing. You can still hear everything and you're still fully conscious, but it's still a very hypnotic type of state of being.
That's similar to Denise. You had your release party and you did the video of the trans. So that was the same. So I have gone through.
Okay, good.
I remember. Okay, when you said that, because I remember she was speaking correct, because you do perform that. Is that correct, Denise?
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
so I did. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that was a past that was a regression that I came up with myself, because I do a lot of journeying, which is kind of the same thing. You can go the upper world, the middle world, the lower world, and then that's how I got that regression. But yeah, I had a regression. I actually had a regression done, and I don't know, Margaret, if you know who Dolores Cannon is. She is.
No, I'm sorry.
She is she's like a pioneer. She started regressions back in the 60s, before it was really accepted, and she's gone all through the whole of the world. She passed away about a year ago, but actually what she was finding out when she was regressing people, a lot of people weren't going into past lives. A lot of people were going to other planets. And so that's what happened to me when I actually had a regression done with one of her students. And I didn't go into a past life. I actually went up into the 9th dimension, and on a Arcturian starship. And actually what I was doing,
cool.
I was up there, and I'm actually projecting. We live parallel. We live we're multi-dimensional beings, so we live different lives out there.
Yes,
our soul is fractured into different lives. So what I was doing was, I was up there projecting. I'm projecting down into this physical body. So, but the really, really cool thing about that regression was, in the 3rd dimensional world, which most of us are still in, and we talk about love, the feeling of 3rd dimensional love is nothing like the feeling of a higher dimensional vibrational love, because all I could do through that whole regression was bawl, because that feeling of love was overwhelming. I just couldn't describe it. It was just fascinating. So, so it leads me into you, Margaret. What in the metaphysical world, you know, you said you wrote a book on Celtic shamanism, and Kuan Yin. You know, when I took my Reiki classes, I also took Kuan Yin, the course with Kuan Yin, you know, the higher vibration of love and healing. And what do? Do you do anything metaphysical when you're not writing, or is all your who you are put in just to your writing?
No, it's not just my writing. I take several courses. I'm forever taking a new course on something. And I studied for, I can't remember whether it was 3 or 4 years with the Whispering Song Teaching Lodge, which is a native background, native theology. When I first started out, in the book, Rebecca has a nervous breakdown. That is me. That is true. And that's something that I wanted to also get across to people, that, and to say, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from, but you can get better. And there's nothing wrong with taking meds. I still take meds for the anxiety. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that if that's where you're at. Some people can do it without that. Personally, I couldn't. There's a chemical imbalance, so I balance the chemicals back. And so that instance, because I had been raised a fundamentalist Christian, my entire background is and very fundamentalist. I don't know if you know of the Church of Christ in where you are. I know it's very popular in the States, not so much in Canada, but that's what I was raised with. So very strict.
Yes.
When I had the breakdown, I couldn't find any help anywhere. And so I started taking a yoga class, which was my first foray out a little bit. And it was just a little class at the local high school. It wasn't, you know, anything big. And I sat at the back of the classroom and cried because I was sure the devil was going to get me. You know, I mean, I went kicking and screaming into the new learning. But they did meditation at the end. Well, I had never done meditation before. So I started to do the meditation, and I found that meditation helped. It could help keep me calmer and that kind of thing. Then I moved to native theology. Then, because of my Scottish background, I moved to Celtic theology. So I've done a whole gamut of things. I have a circle of friends. We meet on the cross quarters. I've done a bit of Wicca. I've studied the Wheel of the Year and have celebrated each of the 8 holidays. And now, because of my age, I'm considered one of the elders. So I get to teach at a lot of the things that we share, all the different ceremonies. So, yeah, there's a lot of learning. And I continue. It doesn't matter what age you are. You continue to learn. And it keeps my mind active. And it keeps me, well, even with Robert's, the idea of coming back and the reasons for it. Pre-birth planning wasn't something I had ever thought of before, but it makes a lot of sense. And so I keep reading. I find new authors, I find new writers, and read it, and I think, okay, I can see that. Not so much that, but yeah, I can see this, you know. And so I'm finding things that are sitting well with my own soul and my own walk.
Well, I got to interrupt you, Michelle, because her story sounds so much like mine. And I just think there's a lot of people out there like that. You know, I was raised Christian, and we had to go through all of the different, you know, teachings, confirmation classes, and everything. And I had really bad experience. I mean, I was looking, and I ended up in a very strict Baptist church. And my oldest daughter was raped when she was 17, and our church shunned us and shunned the kids, treated them like we were all these So I left the church and I never walked back in the church. But like you, I walked into a vitamin store and I saw a brochure that says Reiki. Had no clue what it was, but I just knew that I was supposed to take this class. And the night before my first class, I just had the worst nightmare that like you, I'm going to hell. I was so scared.
Yeah.
And you know what? After that I had that nightmare that the Grim Reaper was trying to come and get me, and I fought him off. And I used to have horrible nightmares, horrible nightmares.
Yeah.
After that night, I never had a nightmare ever again. And where I am today is like I'm in a different planet. And so I think it is. Every time we write a book, it's like a journey of self-discovery. When I wrote Dragon Horse, I am so far ahead of what I wrote when I wrote Dragon Horse. So really, like you, we're all on a journey of self-discovery, and I think Michelle had a past life in the 1800s in New Orleans.
I'd like to have been there for that one.
Had a good time, right?
Yes. Well, and I find like I can't go back to church anymore because of the I'm right and everybody else is wrong philosophy. I just can't. If you're not going to build somebody up, then I can't be part of it. I need to be able to share stories that have a happily ever after ending or whatever, or just explain things, or can say, God is so much bigger than that.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying God. I don't care what you call the creator. I prefer the word creator simply because there's no description. That's all. And to think of God as male and in human form is just, it's energy. It's not, it's just really hard to accept that kind of thing. And so, I like to be with my friends and companions who are right there for you. One funny thing happened talking about going to meditation. I'll share one funny story that I had happen. And like I said, I've been dragged into this kicking and screaming. I was at work one day. There were 1,800 people at the office that I worked at. Wow. They sent around a brochure because they used to have lunch and learns at lunchtime. And they sent around a brochure saying they were going to have a lunch and learn on meditation. And I thought, oh, that sounds cool. So I signed up for it. I get down to the meeting room, or the room. It was like a ballet studio kind of thing. It had a wooden floor and mirrors on one wall. And behind me on the wall were hooks. And each of the hooks had the little mats on them. They were all hooked up onto these hooks. And so I got there. Well, lo and behold, I'm the only one that signed up for the class.
Oh, wow.
So I had private lessons.
Nice.
So we're going through some visualizations and stuff like that. Well, then on the third or fourth week, the instructor said, okay, get a mat down from the rack, lie down, and I'm going to put on a tape. I'll turn the light down. I'm going to put on a tape. and I'm going to leave the room. So I get my mat down on the floor and I'm lying there, and I'm getting more and more nervous. I'm not relaxing at all. I'm completely wound up because I'm thinking, oh boy, what if there's subliminal messages on that tape? Because when I was a kid, you know, they always talked
Right.
about the subliminal messages. And I'm just terrified. And all of a sudden, the mat that's hanging on the wall behind me, the strap broke and it fell down and hit me on the head.
Oh no.
You could have peeled me off the ceiling. Oh, that was horrible. But then I'm lying there and I could hear the creator laughing. And I started to giggle. And I thought, isn't that something? Here I'm taking this course on learning to relax. And all it's doing is making me more anxious than ever. And then I heard a voice and it said to me, do you really think I'd lead you to something that was going to ruin you? And I thought, well, no, guess not. You know. And then he said, just relax and enjoy. And the two of us just had a really good laugh. And after that, I was fine. And I did learn how to meditate and various ways of doing it and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, sometimes it's, you know, our egos get in the way and we don't want to change. It's hard. And it's against everything that maybe our friends believe or our family. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy.
I was going to ask that. How has the feedback been? You're coming from, you said, very fundamentalist roots. So how has that been for you? I can actually ask both of you. How has that been?
The friends that I still have that are fundamentalists. I have lost friends. I have been told I'm going to hell and that I'm lost. And even in my family, they're very worried and pray for me all the time and that kind of thing. So it's been difficult that way, but I've met some beautiful people that I would never have met if I hadn't walked my own path.
And so what has been the positive feedback for your book?
For my book, I've had a lot of positive feedback back from the book. People who have gone through nervous breakdowns or breakdowns of some sort. They came up to me and hugged me and were crying and said, you know, thank you, this book has helped me so much. And others who didn't understand how a life could be affected by past lives or why you bring things in to this life that may seem wrong. They said, wow, you've really given me something to think about. I never thought about it that way before. And so that's, there are a few spelling mistakes, and I have had criticism on that. I read it, I don't know, by the time I sent it to the publisher, I had read it so many times, there were a couple things I just didn't see. But if you can get past those, the story is really good. And I think it does help. It does help people. Awesome. And the ones that are not searching won't read it. But I was hoping to write it. Why I wanted to write it this way, I wrote it as a novel rather than a self-help book, is I wanted people that maybe wouldn't read a self-help book.
Right.
That might like a ghost story.
Nice. Yes.
Would read it. And maybe it might just help somebody. That's why I wrote the book.
Very good. Very cool. All right.
Yeah, you sound, you know, that's why I wrote my dragon. Well, that's why I write. You know, I could do a self-help book, but most of the mundane people won't pick it up. So that's why I write fiction, because I thought, well, if they read the story, they would, it would like plant a seed, or, you know, make them, I want to have the people read it and go, you know, which you have done in your book, you know. And the more,
exactly.
Yeah, the more each page that I read, I was like, okay, here we go. It's getting deeper. It's getting deeper. You know, so yeah, you know, and some will get it and some won't. Some will go, oh, that was a cute story. And there's nothing you can do about that.
That's right.
You know, there's nothing you can do about it. So.
Yeah. Yes, I wanted to do it gently. I didn't want to hit people over the head with it. I just wanted to introduce a concept that maybe they hadn't thought of before and get people thinking, you know, because we do a lot. Some people play the victim card a lot, and you don't have to. I've got quite a few physical deformities, but I brought them in. I'm not a victim. You know, I brought them for a reason, and oh yes, they're very uncomfortable and I hate them and I wish they'd go away, and I do everything I can through massage therapy and physiotherapy to keep walking and keep moving. Mm-hmm. But I brought it in for a reason. This is the last time I'm going to have to deal with this. So that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say that we are actually coming down very low on time.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So we just are so excited that you were able to join us. Where can everyone touch base with you and grab copies of your books?
I am on Amazon, and my book is on Amazon. But the author is my pen name for adult novels, because I have children's novels and I have adult novels. My adult novel is Margaret Mackay.
Okay.
So it's MAIGHREAD.MACKAY.
Awesome.
And you can find it. And the book is Stone Cottage. I do have a couple of book trailers on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I think they're under, if you look them up under Stone Cottage, you'll get them. But I think they're under my Margaret Hefferman name.
Awesome.
So you can look at them there. And my website is mhefferman.ca.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Margaret, for being here. Denise, we're turning it over to you. It was great. I so enjoyed meeting you.
Thank you, Michelle. I loved meeting you too.
Denise is great, as always.
Yeah. Well, thank you all guys for joining us, and we're going to be cut off here in any second now. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.